Hi everyone, so it's that time of year where we look at the super investors and what they've been buying and selling in their portfolios. It's pretty great that we get access to this, by the way. So I've pulled out what I think are the most interesting super investors for this quarter, and I've also gone through and for some of their new investments, I've looked at the valuations and talked a little bit about each of those companies. So we'll dive into that in a moment. But first, I just thought I'd talk about FTX real quickly. And FTX, if you're not aware, is the crypto exchange that went bust during the week. And look, I don't know how to exactly explain this, what I think about this situation. But essentially, like when you're investing in anything, the broker, the platform that you use is just as important as the investments that you're making. So I assume all these people in FTX were buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and doing all the craziness in the crypto world. What they weren't really thinking about is that the exchange itself and how much risk that is. Essentially in the crypto space, and a lot of even in the stock market spaces like the Robinhoods and the trading 212s, a lot of these businesses are essentially startups. And they've only been around for a few years. And you have to put so much trust into that business that you really should be studying that company just like you would study any of your investments. So, for example, if I've invested in Berkshire Hathaway and Markel and a handful of companies, right? Now, I'm investing in those companies, but the risk is not just with that investment, it's also with the exchange or the platform that I'm using to hold my money. Because if something goes wrong with them, this investment, it doesn't matter what happens with Berkshire Hathaway. It's my money could still be lost. And it's exactly what the FTX people have been finding out just recently, and the whole crypto market has been finding out recently. So look, the exchange you use is so critical. I've got a link in the description to Interactive Brokers, which is the one that I use. It's a publicly listed company. I can go through the financials. I can look at the health of that business. It's all transparent. That's why I use Interactive Brokers. It's good that it's easy to use and things like that as well, but it's really about reducing my risk. I already take enough risk in my investing. Anyway, the FTX is just another reminder to please be careful with your brokerage account and really use good quality brokers. Anyway, let's jump into this video now. I'll go into a screen record. So I thought I'd start first with looking at Bill Ackman, and I think the interesting thing here is Canadian Pacific Railway. The addition of looks 400%, which that's like a new buy essentially. So Canadian Pacific Railway, a railway company that's pretty stable, of course. Let's have a quick look at the valuation. Look, if I look at just the PE and the market cap to free cash flow, enterprise to EBIT, I'm here in TIKR, and I'm looking at what it's been sort of looking like for the last year, and look at 20 times. It's not a bargain or anything like that, but just a really quick look. If you look at the financial metrics, it's really strong return on equity and even reasonable return on capital numbers. Just 2021 and the last 12 months looks like it's not very strong, but that's probably what Bill Ackman is seeing as an opportunity, as they'll get back to these higher return metrics. And yeah, it actually looks like a really solid company. If we look at the price chart over the past 3 years, it took a little bit of a hit back in the pandemic, but it's doubled since then. But that's a very stable business, and that's got Bill Ackman written all over it. So yeah, there we go. Let's move on now to Stephen Mandel at Lone Pine Capital. And I think there's a lot of little changes here, but I think the real interesting one here is TransDigm Group. He bought like some banks and some energy companies, but very small percentages. I think the more interesting purchases here are TransDigm Group, being the compounding beast that they've been over the past couple of decades. That's interesting that he's decided to buy into that company now. I don't know whether that has been whether the price has dropped too much or anything recently. TransDigm has always been quite expensive, so I'll have to have a quick look at that. But I thought I'd quickly show you Autodesk. Autodesk, he's bought 4% of the portfolio now, which is quite an interesting stake. I really like Autodesk. Autodesk is like the AutoCAD software for architects and engineers and interior designers, and they use a lot of Autodesk stuff. It's It's got a very strong competitive advantage because people get trained at university in this particular software in those particular industries, and they go into the workforce, and that's what they know. They know this software, and once you really got to, it's a really sticky piece of software because you've been technically trained on it. So Autodesk is a company that I've actually got on my watch list. I think this is a brilliant business model. Whether it's brilliantly run is a different question. I haven't looked much into the management team, but if I look at just valuations at the moment, PE's at 32, free cash flow 27x, enterprise value to EBIT at 26. It's not cheap or anything like that. It doesn't seem like a bargain. Here's the 5-year price. It was sort of hovering in the 300s back when things were a lot more positive in the stock market world, and now it's sort of hovering around that lower 200 number. I think in my my watch list, I have it not even going to consider it until it's like low 100s or something like that. So, Autodesk, I'm really into this business. This is right up my alley. I love this company. So, I will one day do some more digging. Hopefully, if I get a price that I think is reasonable. I guess the only issue is that its market cap's already at 50 billion, and that gives it a pretty big barrier for me in particular, who I'm looking for like essentially small little companies where I can get like big returns from. At 50 billion, maybe you get a triple or a quadruple from here, but like, I'm not getting 10x, 50x, 100x or anything like that anytime soon here. Warren Buffett. All right, the big news, everyone probably has heard of this already, that he has bought quite a sizable stake in Taiwan Semiconductor. Now, if you don't know much about this company, essentially most of the microchips in the world have to go through this company. It's got a huge competitive advantage. It's got just the size of their operation and the amount that the world relies on this company is quite incredible, and that will be the reason why Warren Buffett has invested in this company. And I assume it's because the price got punished with all the political news between China and America and Taiwan and all that stuff. So that's essentially what's happened here. It looks like in US dollars here, it was around the, let's do 3-year time horizon. It had been sort of in the 15 to 25 range, and then it dropped down to, it looks like 11 there, 12, something like that. It looks like the news of Buffett buying has picked it back up again, but there's probably some bargain hunting going on here from Buffett. This is not really an interesting company for me because it's a $400 billion US company, US dollar company. So valuation wise, we're looking at maybe that's what it is. Okay, just the PE. Look at that. It was sort of in the mid 20s, and now it's 12. So it's got significantly cheaper. That's pretty much it. That makes total sense. This business is going to be around for a long time. The political risk is probably the only risk you have to stomach with it being a Taiwan company. So Warren Buffett seems pretty confident. That's pretty cool to see. That's a one for anyone out there who is interested in mimicking Buffett. I think that's pretty cool. Mohnish Pabrai has made a new purchase in America, which is a bit of a surprise, I think, with Brookfield Asset Management. This is a very well run conglomerate company. Very good investors at Brookfield Asset Management. I haven't actually done a whole lot of research into it, mostly because I feel like they're already too big. There you go. It's a Canadian $95 billion company. So what's that, like, I don't know, 70? They hold on a lot of debt, but if you go through the financials, you'll find that it's actually reasonably okay. From a valuation point of view, I haven't got my head around how to value this company, mostly because it's an investment company. So probably a price to book is maybe a reasonable way to look at it. And price to book has dropped back a little bit. It's 1.7 at the moment. I guess my understanding would be Mohnish Pabrai has probably had his eye on this company for a little while based on the great management and track record. And it's just come down to a price that he's obviously willing to take a little nibble at. So, Brookfield Asset Management for those out there wanting to follow Mohnish Pabrai. Let's look at Robert Vinall now. I think this is pretty cool that he's been adding to Carvana, Trupanion as well a little bit, but yeah, the Carvana ad is pretty cool because you're probably very aware of this, but look at that for a 1 year chart. It's down 96%. That is from 300 down to $10. It was down at like $7 at one point. Essentially, everyone thinks this company is going bankrupt, and it looks pretty ugly from a balance sheet point of view. They're looking like they're going to have to raise a lot more money, so they're going to dilute shareholders pretty dramatically. There's a lot of bad press about this company. Wow, it is as ugly as it gets, and evaluation's not even going to work, I don't think, because they're not profitable. No, okay, so we don't even worry about going in there. This is a really interesting case. If it's you'd have to really get your head around what's going on at Carvana and be really confident that they can get themselves out of it, because if you think they can get themselves out of it, this turns into a potentially huge investment opportunity. But I don't know how to value it. I don't know what the potential is. I don't know much about the business except the fact that it's just been getting punished, and everyone thinks it's going bust. So if you think it's not going bust, you're probably going to make a lot of money. I'm going to stay away from this one personally, I think, but I'll actually probably wait and see till I get a little bit more of a so people in the YouTube world and get a bit more information. Like, hopefully that people out there do some digging for me, and then I might get interested, but I don't really feel much desire to go digging at the moment. I guess the fact that it's only $1 billion company now makes it interesting. I have to look at what their assets are and things like that. But yeah, anyway, Carvana, for those interested, Robert Vinall has been buying more. So there we go. Dennis Hong at Shaw Spring Partners. Besides the changes there with the ads and reducing of coupang, Intuit is the company that he has bought, which is a pretty big stake at 11%. Intuit is, I think, pretty amazing business too. Again, the issue here is that the market cap is it's like $100 billion company. Like, I'm not going to get huge returns. I got to take my advantages being a small investor, looking at small companies. Like, this is not going to be life-changing, any of these types of investments. But anyway, I like this business for the fact that it's also very sticky software. This is tax software in America. Xero is the equivalent in Australia. This is a really great niche to be in, is business bookkeeping and tax software. So it's very important for businesses to have. They need that software. It's pretty critical. From a valuation point of view, let's have a quick look. Because it's software, it doesn't get really that cheap, but I guess it's probably somewhere around fair value right now, being in the 20s, the 20 to 30 times multiples there. It has been up in the 40s and 50s before. That's probably a bit overkill somewhere. And obviously Dennis Hong has seen that it's come to a value that he's happy with. So that's an interesting one for those out there who are more in the tax, accounting, legal space. I think this is a pretty interesting business, pretty amazing, but that market cap's going to keep me away. All right, last but not least, Michael Burry at Cyan Asset Management. Lots of buyers here. Now, he has a bigger portfolio. So if I go into TIKR, I'll show you how I do it. I go to Track Investing Gurus, and then I go to Cyan Asset Management. And even though it won't come up with like the most up-to-date information, you can see that there are 6 different businesses here, only one being a 13F. So it hasn't been updated yet, but these companies are in Japan. This one's in, these two are in England. So it doesn't have just these companies here. So add these companies to this list, and that's closer to what his portfolio looks like, I think. Big addition in Geo Group and Core Civic, which are the private prisons in America. Jesus, I don't know how to get my head around that one. Charter Communications I'm familiar with. That's a lot of super investors have that have that business. Curate Retail Group, that's QVC, I think, and they're a conglomerate, but it's interesting to see Michael Burry buying into some of these American companies now. I don't know Aerojet Rocketdyne Holdings, what that is, or Liberty Lilac Group. I have no idea. But yeah, there's a good list here. Michael Burry, very interesting investor, and often comes up with some little hidden gems every now and again. So I would look here for that. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. Tell me if anyone's out there, I don't know, maybe investigating Carvana or Michael Burry's portfolio or anything like that. I'd be very interested to hear. Leave that in the comments below and we'll talk about it. Again, in my description, there's lots of different things of interest in there. So Interactive Brokers links for demo accounts, my Discord groups, my e-magazine, things like that. If you're interested, all in the description. Otherwise, I will see you next week.